What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Live with Brandon Blakeney podcast. I am your host, Brandon Blakeney, aka Brandon Lee TV. Y'all know I got another banger for you, so kick back, relax, and come take a ride with me.
You are now locked into the Live with Brandon Blakeney podcast. Here is your host, Brandon Blakeney.
So after a historic triple-double and knocking off the number one team in the WNBA, the Indiana Fever fell to the bottom of the barrel Washington Mystics. We gave Christie sides too much credit in my last video. You got Caitlin on fire, going for 29 points, putting up another historic stat line that we've never seen before in the WNBA. You would think the final play would be drawn up for her, but Christie's sides, being Christie's sides, completely fumbled the bag once again, guys. This is terrible. This is catastrophic. What is she thinking? I'm back on. I gave her a little bit of the flowers, and I was like, she's cooling off on the hot seat a little bit. She's right back on it. Get sides out of there, man. How do you let this happen? How do you make that decision? And this is what she had to say for herself, y'all.
I don't think it impacted the whole game. That was a coach's decision, and I'm just going to leave it at that.
Okay, there goes my next question. I was going to ask you what the thinking was behind making that change. You're not going to answer.
That was just a coach's decision, and that's where we're going to leave it.
All right.
Nasty word. Nasty word. That's a cop-out. That's a cop-out. I can't respect it. That is a cop-out, a coach's decision. What led to this decision? We were just starting to give sides her flowers, and then she goes and does this, goes against the grain, and takes the ball out of Caitlin's hands. When she's cooking the whole game, she's been leading you, leading the charge, leading the offense as the top option today, and you go away from the hot hand? Who does that? The Fever fall 89 to 85, man. 9-14 on the year, dropping back down to 8th place below the Chicago Sky that got the dub today. Looking at it, Dolson was big, 13 points, 6 assists, which was very impressive, 5 rebounds. Ariel Atkins, 26 points, 3 assists, 3 rebounds for her, leading the way. Aaliyah Edwards finished with 12 points, 4 assists, and 6 rebounds for them. On the other end, she outplayed the other Aaliyah Boston, man. Aaliyah Edwards outplayed Aaliyah Boston. Boston finishes with a measly 6 points and 6 boards. Very quiet night. Lexi Hull, they switched up the starting lineup, man. With Samuelson, we saw Hull a lot more. She finished with 5 points, 2 assists, and 2 rebounds. Samuelson finished with 8 points and 9 boards. Kelsey Mitchell, Caitlin Clark, and Alyssa Smith were the only Fever players in double figures. Mitchell finished with 15, 2 assists. We gotta shout it out, and 3 rebounds. And then Caitlin Clark was just fine. She's finding her mojo. She's getting into that mode. 29 points, 13 assists, and 5 rebounds. And you give her everything but the final shot in the game. What are you thinking, Coach Sides? This is just, it makes no sense. This was a winnable game. They were down at half. They trailed this game majority of this entire game. You had a fighting chance late in this one, and you take the ball out of Clark's hands. She is finding her rhythm. She is getting the respect of her teammates, and I thought when I mentioned it in my last video that she was getting the respect and the trust of her coach. But no. It's wicked, man. There's no explanation for it. Any coach worth a damn is going to feed the hot hand. Why would you go away from that? Now they lose this game, and this was a very winnable game for them. This is a game that the Fever had no business losing. All due respect to the Mystics, they played the better game, they executed, and they closed it out. But the Fever had no business winning this game. If you're looking at to be a playoff team, a legit playoff team, you're not losing to the bottom of the barrel teams in the WNBA. This schedule was borderline supposed to be a cakewalk, and now they find themselves in 8th place below the Chicago Sky, when we talked about it in the last live stream, I brought it up. Who had the better chance of making the playoffs? And a bunch of people felt like the Fever would because of the strength of schedule. They played a lot of their hard games. People were not expecting them to drop this game versus the Mystics. And then, of course, the Chicago Sky take care of business against the Dream. And Angel Reese balls out and had a heck of a day and extends her double-double streak. This Rookie of the Year award is so close. It genuinely could come down to what player makes the playoffs, man. And right now, with Christie sides, I just have no faith. I have no faith. She is self-sabotage. She is sabotaging this team. She is stunting the growth of the Indiana Fever. What more does Caitlin have to do out there to be handed the keys and get complete control? You just saw what she did last game. You saw how this team played together as a unit last game. You saw how easy she made things for Aaliyah Boston, Alyssa Smith last game. And then you go away from it late in the game. It's that same fourth quarter shenanigans we're seeing over and over again, man. It's time to pull the plug on the Erica Wheeler situation. Christie Watt, like, it's time to make some moves. And I did read that they're looking to add a vet with some championship experience, with some playoff experience, to take them over that next level, to push them over the hill. They need leadership, that is for sure. But they need a coaching change, man. I don't know how much more people are going to be able to take of this. I mean, it's just make it make sense, y'all. Make it make sense. And then looking at the rest of the slate, the Fever have the Mercury next, then they play the Lynx, then the Dallas Wings, and they go into the Olympic break. Two of these games are very winnable, I think, in my opinion, with the Mercury rematch and then the Dallas Wings for bottom of the barrel. That should be a 2-1 stretch, in my opinion. But, man, what we saw, I mean, giving up 89 points, they held the Liberty to 78 points. The Aces had 88 points. They held the Mercury to 82 points. They let the Mystics put up 89 points, y'all. Where is the defense? Like, this is just nasty work. Yo, the Mystics have not put up more than 80 points in the last... They haven't put up more than 82 points in the last 3 games. The Lynx just held them to 67 points. The Fever gave up 89 to them. Are you kidding me? This is abysmal, man. This is not a game that you're supposed to lose. It's set up for you guys to march into the break with high momentum after knocking off the number 1 team. Caitlin Clark is firing on all cylinders. Take the cuffs off, free her, completely trust her, put the game in her hands, and let her decide the outcome. I mean, it seemed like they were on the right path, and then no. Now we're right back to square one. Right back to square one with the same nonsense. Coach Christie Saj just devastating mistakes. Just throwing games. Point shaving at this point, it feels like. Like, what is exactly going through her mind? That quote didn't give us nothing. Even the media's confused. The fans are confused. We're all confused. What is going on? And what does the future look like, man? They got to get rid of Coach Saj, y'all. They have to get rid of her. They have to find a replacement. She's not the one. She's not it. And if they make the playoffs, if they mess around, make the playoffs, I don't see them getting rid of her. And that's going to be a detriment to this team for another year. How many years of this 4-year contract with Clark are you going to waste with Coach Christie Sides making these boneheaded mistakes that nobody has an explanation for, including her? People are going to look to get back on track against the Mercury, man, but this was a very winnable game that they dropped. Let me know how y'all feel in the comments about the situation. Christie Sides, goes, stays. How y'all feel? Was this game on her? Should Caitlin have got that last shot? I think so. Y'all holler at me. Let me know what's next for the Fever. How y'all feel in the comments to this reaction. That's a wrap for us. Make sure to hit that subscribe button for all the latest and the greatest. Until next time, hey, we out.